Sorry, I had to move inside. It was getting a little too windy. Last part of this, we talk about the vertical access, right? The access. We're talking about the experiential side of theater. But there is a structural side of theater, right? The frame of the play, if you will, that we call the horizontal access of a play. We can think of it in terms of like pre-play, the play itself, and then what happens after, what happens at the end on one level. But then we can also talk about the actual like structure of the play itself, beginning, middle to end, inside of it as well. So pre-play would be things like advertising, right? Like we got to tell people that we're doing a play and that they should come see it. They should come buy a ticket. So that's advertising, publicity, so on and so forth. With regards to an actual play, we understand on the one hand as a beginning, middle, and an end, but it's more complicated than that, right? If you think of it like a book, you learn in literature that there is an introduction, right? There's a rising action or a conflict. There's a climax. There's a falling action. And there's a denouement, right? Or the end of the resolution of whatever it might be. So almost every play begins in the middle of things, right? In media res is the phrase they use, the Latin phrase. It's usually some kind of background or introduction, monologue, dialogue, whatever it might be, to tell us, hey, here's what's going on, here's what's just happened, or here's what's about to happen. The conflict, of course, is the moment where something changes, right? What we call the inciting incident, right? Like, oh, we're going along, oh, hey, the house is on fire, the house is on fire. That means that suddenly we're into a conflict that changes the stakes of the game. It's for this. Don't worry. The house is not actually on fire. The house is on fire. The house is on fire. That's my daughter. She's like, Dad, why is the house on fire? What do you mean? The conflict is the moment where the characters are imbibed with contrasting objectives and actions, where the stakes are made. The stakes are set. Like, what's at stake here? Character A wants this. Character B wants this, right? Character A is fighting against character B. What about character C? What do they want? How are they involved? Well, character C is in a relationship with character A, but character B wants... You see what I'm saying? Like, that's the conflict. We start to understand, oh, these are the stakes. This is what's going on. Then, of course, the climax... Well, that conflict, those stakes, puts the characters on a collision course toward the conflict. Or toward the climax, I mean. And the climax, it can't be... It always comes to a head. The conflict always comes to a head, and that head, where things explode, is the climax of play. That doesn't mean that it has to be violent or a massive explosion of things. It just means it's the moment where the play breaks in favor of one set of objectives or another set of objectives, right? In that conflict between group A and group B, or person A and person B, right? The climax is when the play breaks one way or the other. And then we see the consequences of that, which, of course, is the resolution or the denouement. And the thing about that is that you'll find that a lot of plays, they don't wrap up perfectly, right? Like a play doesn't necessarily end exactly as with a nice, pretty bow on top. In fact, a lot of times plays leave things unanswered. Like, you don't know what's going to happen next. But the important thing to understand is that the way a play ends, it has to provide some kind of clarity or lucidity with regards to what has just happened. Like, so that we understand that, okay, this is over now. Even if something is about to happen in the future, this is over. And then, of course, the last element of the structure would be the post-play, right? It's kind of funny. We talk about the idea of a curtain call or what happens at the end. Well, that's the opportunity for the audience to come in and clap for the actors, but also for the actors to bow in appreciation for letting the audience come in and see the play, them having wanted to come here. That's something that's important to understand, that theater is a mutual agreement, right? You have performers, you have observers, and they come into a relationship in order to have an experience together. So you've got to allow that audience an opportunity to express themselves, and also allow the actors a chance to come out and bow and say, thank you very much for coming to see the play. So those two axes work together to form what we understand the structure of a play. That ends the lecture. Hope you enjoyed it. See you next time for Chapter 3, What is an actor? Oh boy.